Hello, and welcome to another episode of Ending Physician Overwhelm. This is episode 160, Self-Compassion in Trying Times. Took me a little bit to get my thoughts together and organize myself to record today. I think that I notice as we are on the edge of a presidential transition in the United States, a particularly difficult one for me. And having experienced a number of distressing events with family, with colleagues and clients and patients over the last several weeks, unrelated to the election and the election results, um, there's been a lot of feelings, a lot of difficult feelings. And let's face it, January tends to be a difficult month for many humans. After we transition into a new year, although there can be a lot of that perfectionist energy, that new year, new you that we talked about not too long ago, there's also a quieting down that happens after you may have celebrated holidays. There may have been more gatherings with friends and family and more joyful events, even when there were difficult things going on. And as we hop into January, typically a lot of those good things die down and we move back into this space of work and sometimes struggle. And so I don't think I'm alone in facing a lot of feelings. And this is not really about the election. This is not really about this presidential transition, but just the experience of having a lot of difficult or negative experiences going on and an opportunity to really tune into ourselves and lean into self compassion because ultimately, taking good care of ourselves, practicing self compassion even during times of difficulty is what will make our lives better. When we are in tune with our emotions, when we are taking good care of ourselves, we naturally cultivate more resilience. And I don't mean the kind of touchy feely resilience that we bandy about in physician burnout and wellness discussions. I mean actual resilience. When you are well resourced, when you are taking good care of yourself, getting your needs for sleep and rest and play and nourishing food and movement and connection with other humans, when you're getting those needs met, you are so much more functional and better able to navigate the challenges that you face. That's just true, right? When you are run down, when you are overwhelmed, when you are haggard, when you are hungry, that is not a good time to be navigating challenges. And so part of my message today is let's lean in to taking great care of ourselves, but I also really want to reconnect with the ideas of self-compassion so that we're adding that in as well as taking excellent care of our basic human needs. Self-compassion is something that nearly all of us could use more of. And I realize in looking back from, where I am now to the past 5 years, the past 10 years, self-compassion is something that I have now through active cultivation that I did not have before. Self-compassion, as defined by one of the leading experts in this country and around the world, Dr. Kristin Neff, is composed of three elements: self-kindness, that is the words that we say to ourselves; common humanity, which is the connection to other people and a sense that you are not alone in having the feelings that you have; as well as mindfulness. And mindfulness not as kind of this woo-woo meditation piece, but mindfulness in that you are connected to and reflective of the way that you feel. And one thing that I particularly love about her work and her discussion of this mindfulness piece is to not over or under identify with your emotions. And that, I think, is a really important part of this self compassion work, because when you are feeling fully overwhelmed, frustrated, resentful, exhausted, you are naturally usually over identifying with those emotions. Now, that is not a blaming statement. What I mean by that is that when you live that way, and believe me, I have lived that way, you feel consumed by those emotions because it feels like there's no other options, no other choices. It feels like you are doomed. And I think we can all identify with those experiences that we may be fairly tuned out from our emotional state in general, but living in this state where our emotional exhaustion levels are just at all-time high and we can't see straight because of that emotional exhaustion, right? That is one of the hallmarks of burnout. So that is over identifying with our emotions. And conversely, we could also wrap in a more energized, well, not energizing emotion like anxiety, right? When we're feeling very anxious, when we're feeling really wound up, we may feel as though there's no option but to feel that way, that we are just doomed to anxiety and hypervigilance and just feeling stuck in this energy of, I have no choice. That is not a helpful place to live in. And I think many, many, many of us have experienced that. So, not over identifying with your emotions, not under identifying with them either. And under identifying is, a completely disconnected, robotic, numbed out state. And we could say, well, that sounds pretty similar to the overwhelm, but this person won't even acknowledge that they're overwhelmed. They're just checked out. They're just not aware of their emotions. If you ask them how they felt, they might just mumble fine and move on, because they won't even allow themselves to identify an emotion, let alone to name it. I think it's really important that we start practicing this piece of not over or under identifying emotions. And the way to do that is to just start naming them. How do you feel? If you were really going to answer the question honestly when someone asks, hey, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Being able to name the emotion or emotions as they are, and just to acknowledge that you're feeling something. For the past 2 weekends, so last weekend and this one, I'm recording on the Sunday before this episode airs, I've just been feeling some frustration, some resentment, this this mm, this energy of worry, to be quite honest. And when I'm feeling that way, any little thing sets me off, right? I'm really irritable. Um, it's very easy for my thoughts to turn to a negative space. And what I've been practicing doing is trying to step back from that and just acknowledge I'm very irritable right now. I'm feeling irritable. I'm feeling frustrated. I'm feeling worried. And starting to name those, to say them out loud, to acknowledge that I'm having some feelings and I can connect them to thoughts. I can connect them to thoughts that, frankly, I'm okay having. I'm okay having some judgments about things. And if I do that process, That allows me to get a little bit of space from the feeling. And then I have an opportunity, right, to take care of myself in that moment. And this is where the common humanity piece really kicks in as well as the self kindness, right? I can say to myself, it's normal for me to feel this way because of the beliefs and values that I hold. Lots of people who have the same thoughts and beliefs that I do are feeling this way. And again, this is not about politics. This is really just about identifying how you feel, noticing it, naming it, being able to look at your thoughts. Why do I feel this way? Why do I notice this? And be able to talk to yourself kindly. Now, I have, like all humans, values and beliefs. You do too. We may share some, we may not share, we probably don't share all of them, right? We may overlap quite a bit. Understanding what your values and beliefs are and what your thoughts are about that, and consequently your feelings in a time where there is a lot going on that feels really challenging, is incredibly helpful for that mindfulness piece. When I can identify that I'm feeling frequently overwhelmed, resentful, frustrated, and I can identify that I'm having lots of thoughts, I'm having lots of anxieties and worries, I have an opportunity to get out of my head and to choose to do things that I will find helpful, especially over the next several weeks. I can practice journaling, and particularly during times like this, a thought dump or the thought download. People call it different things, right? But just think stream of consciousness, just writing out sentence after sentence or words after words, just to get it out of your brain. Moving something onto paper like that just again is there's some catharsis that happens there of just letting it move through you. I can also schedule myself more lightly, or I might intentionally plan to connect with people that I know will help me. They may lift me up. They may be able to um, remind me of the goodness of people, because that's something that's really important to me. I can choose to take a break from things that feel too hard right now, right? That might be certain, activities that you do. It might be listening to the news. It might be talking with certain people in your life. I can take a break from that. And so can you, when we are really tuned in to, again, this idea of like, how am I feeling, and how am I feeling matters. A lot of people, including the Lazy Genius, one of my favorite podcasters, Kendra Dachi, talks about being really clear on what season am I in. And for me, this month has been definitely a season of, again, difficult sort of circumstances that I'm seeing and experiencing. And I can tell that one of the things that I need to do is to free up some quiet time, to free up some blank space so that I can let my thoughts come out, that I can let them swirl around, that I can be kind to myself in understanding that there are a lot of feelings going on, and there's a gentleness and a freedom to that. So this is, of course, work that we have to practice, because most of us are not self-compassion experts. And I will say this, that even, the self-compassion experts got to where they are through, yes, study and work, but also in fumbling through their own lived human experiences. And it's so important that we hold on to that we are all humans trying to live this life alongside each other, in community with each other, trying to do hopefully good and valid work together and for each other. When I'm able to identify these emotions, to allow myself to have thoughts, to speak kindly to myself, to, really just be present with myself, I develop and cultivate more resilience. And I know that you can do this too. So if you find that right now you're struggling through a difficult season, and season might be a few weeks, it might be months, it might be years, right? If you have young children and you're working and there's a pandemic, right? That is probably several years of a season, right? But other seasons are going to be far shorter. So, season is a very flexible term in this capacity. What season are you in? What are the emotions that are going on for you? And what do you need to do for yourself in order to practice more self-compassion? Again, those elements are self-kindness, mindfulness, which is just awareness of how you feel and understanding that our emotions are not permanent states. They are transient and they are valid. And then that common humanity piece. And practicing that is as simple as saying, it makes sense that I feel this way. Other people who think and believe the things that I do may also feel this way. When we are leaning into self-compassion here, we are able to feel like fully capable humans with the full complement of human emotions who have agency to take care of ourselves because we can tune in. None of us really, truly expects to live a difficulty-free life. We may wish for that. We may dream of that. We may think, gosh, if only I wasn't doing this really hard work, if only I wasn't working in this place, I won't have any more difficulties. Of course, we know rationally that that's not true because life is a series of challenges and some good stuff sprinkled in. For myself, I'm really trying to tune in to the good things in my life, to reminding myself of my values and my beliefs, and choosing to do things that will help me to hold on to those values and beliefs. And part of that is taking good care of myself so that I have the capacity to uphold my values and beliefs. So I'm going to leave it at there for today. Thank you, as always, for your ears. I sincerely, sincerely appreciate you listening each and every week. And until next time, take care.